still have time for one more question. Great.
Right. So my question is, like, given in the same industry, in a given industry, is it possible for a social enterprise to be as competitive as a normal enterprise? Because given that you have two goals, to maximize profits and to help society, so is it possible to be equally competitive, or is it you'll always be lagging behind because you have more to consider than a normal business? You can't just go forward that fast.
Okay, I think to me, by definition, you are a business, you have to be competitive. I'm not sure if any of you have eaten in this restaurant next door called 18 Chef. Okay, 18 Chef, for those of you who don't know, 18 Chef is also a social enterprise, right? They employ youth at risk as a waiter, etc., to give them a second opportunity. And I think in Singapore, F&B, you have to be competitive. I think it's really hard for you to sell that I have beneficiary working in my restaurant, hence my price has to be more, or my food quality my food is less tasty. I think probably as a consumer, it's very hard to accept those reasons. So I think especially for those F&B or who don't serve general customers, you got to be competitive, right? And for my own social enterprise, we got to be competitive as well. We provide service to non-profits and social enterprise, right? By definition, most of the organization can't pay, right? If my price I charge same as those big companies, and I don't think I would be able to achieve the social impact I want, meaning that serve them, right? So I got to be competitive in terms of to say, okay, if I charge subsidize the rates, how do I still cover my costs or generate a profit? Then I have to look at my process. How do my methodology of operating can be more lean, or how do I find technologies to lower the cost? So I think, to me, by definition, social enterprise has to be competitive like any other business.
Let me just ask you a question. So let's say you have a choice at a supermarket to buy a more sustainable product or like a generic product. How many of you would say, okay, I'd buy the more sustainable product? You can raise hands. I'm going to assume anyone who's not raising a hand didn't hear the question. Normally it's in surveys, normally that's like 90%, even up to like 97% or something. So most people want to do something that's more sustainable, but actually when they go to the supermarket, they'll purchase the average product. So there's a difference in like what they want to do versus what people actually do. So when it comes to a price point, you need to be absolutely competitive. So yeah, that's my belief, that in an industry you need to be competitive on price, but I actually think that social enterprises can do even better if they leverage certain aspects. In lots of cases, social enterprises are carving out like new parts of business because they're solving an issue that no one was solving before. And I think they can actually get better talent than conventional businesses, because nowadays people do want to work for meaning, and there is that potential to get really, really good talent, but also potentially at a slightly lower rate because people are willing to sacrifice a little bit of salary for greater meaning and purpose. So yeah, in summary, absolutely you need to be competitive, and I think you can actually do better in certain aspects.
Thank you, Laura. Is there anybody else have any question? Yes, great.
Hi, I'd like to ask a question. How do you find the balance between sustainability and benefiting the people you're helping?
That's a very good question. I think it really depends. For some social enterprise, the social objective and the sustainability object does conflict into each other. Some don't, some does, right? Let's say take the F&B restaurant as an example, right? If I work with a mentally challenged person, right? There's a couple of social enterprises in Singapore working with mentally challenged person, right? So they can only cut vegetables, or they take much longer to just do one simple thing, and they can't do like the whole cooking, etc. Right? So for normal people, you hire one person who can do the chopping, who can do the washing, and everything else, right? But you hire intellectually challenged, etc. Let's say you have to hire 3 persons to do the same amount of job, and assuming you don't pay them 1/3 of what you're paying for the normal people. So there will be a challenge that how do you balance these two out? I don't have a sort of a perfect answer, but I'm thinking for social enterprise, then you have a unique selling point that you can get other revenue stream. Let's say if you help the government trying to find a job for these individuals who are conventionally who can't find a job, right? So you can tap other revenue source from government, right? Or you can tap on corporations who are willing to help training these people. So you get other revenue source to compensate your additional cost, such that you use your social enterprise to mitigate the sort of business disadvantage. But I would say most of the advice I would give anyone is trying to design your social enterprise such that your social objective, your business objective are in line, so that you don't have to constantly make a decision, should I go for the social one or should I go for the business one? And when that challenge, if you can't avoid that, right, be very clear what is your decision making, right? So let's say I run a social enterprise, so let's say sustainability is really important, right? So without sustainability, forget about any social impact, right? But if I'm sustainable, then my priority is about social impact, right? So that's how in back of my mind, I would try to make that decision.
I'll just add a little bit to what he has said. Often we face this big question, and then to the point of we often ask ourselves, should we close down this business? So my decision, or even as I clinch deals, it's always I must make money. If I don't make money, how am I going to feed my people? So no margin, no profit, no mission. That's my bottom line. So it's always a guiding post for me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the good question. If nobody has any burning questions, then you should hold your peace and later speak to them individually. But other than that, I would like to invite the audience to give them a warm round of applause for an outstanding sharing experience today. We will see more of these things in the future, more of this sharing, and I hope all of you will be able to also seriously consider social entrepreneurship in your lives. I also like to thank all of you for coming down and sharing with all of us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter Yang, Ms. Laura Allen, and Ms. Carol Heng, and Jeremy for moderating this session. Before you like to go down, I'd like to invite you guys to remain on stage. We would like to invite Ms. Nivita to come up and present to you the tokens of appreciation. Ms. Nivita, please. Okay, again, another huge round of applause for this inspiring and insightful panel discussion. And now, the final, most important part of this forum, the white paper discussion. Okay, so to the newcomers who actually don't know what this is about, This is a document that consolidates the ideas and opinions of Singapore youth entrepreneurs, such as yourself, and this document will then be presented at the World Entrepreneurship Forum in Lyon, France.
Okay, so this session's theme is on social enterprise. So before we begin, can we have a show of hands who still hasn't made their Twitter account?
A show of hands. Okay, we have this young gentleman, right? And for the sake of you guys, we're gonna flash the screen that talks about how you can set up your Twitter account. Do you have a Twitter account? You don't? Okay, why don't you make friends with other people who have Twitter accounts, share with them. Alright, is that okay? Okay, thank you. So, how this discussion is actually going to go down is that I need you guys to be in your groups. So when you guys registered, you actually received your group number. Sit within your groups in a circle or something where in a seating arrangement that you can properly discuss with one another. If you guys would, I would really appreciate if you could move now, kind of get to know your group mates, talk about it.
Get comfortable with each other, just, form a circle so that your discussion will be better.
Come on guys, let's hurry a little bit. So find your group mates, sit down with them, and we can begin the discussion. And just a reminder, so when you guys are tweeting about whatsoever, you have to hashtag JWEFSG space hashtag your group number. So if in group 1, it's 01. If in group 2, it's 02. Also, yesterday we made a quick comment about trying to make JWEFSG, JWEFSG trend, right? We actually did it for a while. Can we have the previous slide, please? That is correct. We were actually
trending better than Brazil versus Germany, mind you, so great
amazing
job,
stuff. A huge round of applause for you guys now, okay guys? Come on. Good job, everyone. Awesome stuff. So, can we have the previous slides from the prompts? Thank you.
Alright, so I'm going to read out just the prompts. So the first prompt is, how do you think social enterprises can remain sustainable in the long run?
And the second prompt reads, how would you strike a balance between making profits and being socially responsible?
Alright, the third prompt is, what are some of the challenges you think local social enterprises might be facing? So basically, just how social enterprises are going to be functioning. Brainstorm on that. These are just prompts, so you can still expand on whatever you think is necessary.
The entire theme is on social enterprise. You guys would like to take 5 minutes of your entire time, which is 1 hour. So just take the first 5 minutes, tweet about it, your most raw thoughts about it. That will act as an intra-group discussion platform, and then you guys can proceed with your inter-group discussion platform.
Alright, so if you guys need any help, do approach any one of us. We will be glad to help you have a great discussion, guys.
See you in a bit. Okay, and after each speaker has shared, I need you guys to kind of think about what they've said, maybe raise a question, comment, things like that. Critique each other's thoughts, okay? So, why don't we have someone volunteer to go first? Anyone? Group 1, Group 2, Group 3? Any volunteers? I hear clapping. This is Sabo lah, not volunteer. Different one, you know? Okay, so she's volunteering. Okay. She volunteered. Anyone? Okay. Aiden, is your name Aiden? Layden, like Layden with bird. Lydon. Okay, interesting. So first up, guys, if I can have your attention here for a bit, we have Lydon from Group 1 who will be sharing their main takeaways. So Lydon, please.
So how can a social enterprise remain sustainable in the long run? So for first, we can have government policies to push.
Can Group 3 hear him over here?
government policies to push social enterprises by giving out incentives and subsidies. And secondly, we can have policies to change people's mindsets and allow an apprenticeship in social enterprises to give exposure to the young. Secondly, how will you strike a balance between making profits and being socially responsible? So first is commitment to being socially responsible, and you must have the passion for what you do. And we can also have corporate governance, rules and regulations, like internal policies. And lastly, what are some of the challenges you think local social enterprises might be facing? So first is a lack of support from government and society, like social stigma of social enterprises. Traditional mindsets needs to be changed, and uncertainties about future prospects, whether it will turn out well, and they have the lack of confidence. And lastly is being competitive. So yeah.
Alright, thank you, Lyndon. A huge round of applause to our brave volunteer. So any questions? Any questions from group 2 and group 3? Any opinions about what they're talking about? Don't be so bothered about your own presentation. No offense, bro, but as in just think about how this is a discussion, a mass discussion. Think about what he has just said. Anything, guys? Any comments? Any questions? Okay, you know what? Why don't I get this? I get the ball rolling. So you mentioned that you can actually get government policies, like internal policies, to start your social enterprise, right? But then later on, you mentioned that the challenges is that you will not have government policies or like aid on that. So how do you intend to kind of reconcile that 2 points? Okay, so we have your name, please.
I think what he meant was I think what he meant was not to say that the government policies, but rather that there should be government policies because currently there is no government support. Like what government supports is like more of commercial enterprises because it increases economy much faster. It's much more effective rather than a social enterprise, which because of the beneficiary groups that they're actually helping, sometimes the production or the service can be a little slower.
All right, thank you. So any other questions? Any comments? Anything, guys? Just any random stuff? Okay, we have one over here. Hi, lady, can I have your name?
Yes, just now you mentioned about like change the traditional mindset of people, is it? But how are you going to do it? Like, what is your, maybe like, are you going to conduct like some talks or something? How are you going to do it?
Hi, I'm Veronica. So yeah, so we thought of like allowing them to have like internships in such like social enterprises so that you can give them like exposure to this kind of stuff. So you try already, then you know, like then you can experience what do these beneficiaries feel and etc. Anyway. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Any other add-ons from your own group? No? Okay. Any other further questions or comments? Nothing else? Okay, why don't we move on to group 2? Later on, if we have more time, we can just go back one round again. So you guys can prep more material whatsoever. Group 2. Okay.
Okay, so we didn't really discuss question 1, question 2, question 3. It was just like an overall thing. So firstly, we should bring in more talents to the social enterprise scene, and then we could increase the pay of these social enterprise workers, and they should also tap on each other's network, because for social enterprise it is extremely difficult to survive alone. And of course, we hope to be able to join support from commercial firms. And one point is the internship program, which the other team has also mentioned, but I think there's this interesting point I should touch on. So, I mean, for internship, right, since your pay is going to be low no matter what, so why not take the chance to actually try internship at a social enterprise? So it's kind of like a win-win situation. And then social enterprise should actively develop volunteer network. And one thing they could do is also focus more on converting the existing business models, the big companies, into social enterprise, rather than trying to start something new. So find who are the big business models and try to convert them into social enterprise if possible. Yeah. Any questions?
Actually, thank you for your presentation. I mean, I'm Shireen. No, we're just thinking, right, among us, like, how is this social enterprise going to find these interns? I mean, if you are saying that we have to follow the business model, right, of the established company, if I don't mistaken. As in, okay, your point about like internship and then something about modeling the, they are separate things.
Can you guys talk into the mic so that everybody can hear what? One more mic.
So maybe I just repeat myself. So for the internship, since interns are going to earn a low pay no matter what, so why not take the chance to work at the social enterprise and get a feel of it? And if they like it, they can continue. And if they don't, maybe they can just proceed with their commercial jobs. Yeah. And as for the second point, converting existing business models into social enterprise. So converting the big companies into social enterprise, rather than trying to build something from scratch.
Okay, how are you planning to like convert? Because is it changing the workers into beneficiary groups or something?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point
because if you change the beneficiary group, then it's gonna be a social enterprise. Then the pace of the production is gonna be slow. So I don't think a lot of people would want that. They'd want it to be as fast as possible. As in they want production, they want like revenue to increase, not to decrease.
Right. But I think this will be more in the long term. Perhaps we're looking at 10 years, 20 years from changing the mindset so we can slowly convert these big companies into social enterprise. But I do agree that it is not a solution that can be achieved in 3-5 years. I think 10 years I think is the minimum.
Thank you, that is very true. I'll just leave the mic there for a bit. What about group 3? You guys have been very silent. I'm sure you guys have thoughts and opinions on whatever Chun Yong has just said, or the little debate that kind of happened there. Nothing whatsoever. You're just thinking about something. Why don't you just vocalize those thoughts? Supper. Okay. I have nothing to say to that, my friend. Okay, any other thoughts on social enterprise by itself? Ignoring whatever Chun Yong has said or whatever that's happened so far. They got it all covered. No thoughts whatsoever? Okay, why don't we move on to group 3 first? Your volunteer for today? No one. Sam. No, Sam cannot represent for you guys because he's a volunteer, so as in he is part of our team, our organizing team, so you guys have to do it. Come on lah. We actually need a volunteer to kind of talk about whatever you guys have just discussed. Come on.
Come on. You guys presented yesterday. I'm pretty sure you will have no problem.
Very eloquent bunch of people. I'm sure you guys are capable of just presenting what you guys came up with in the past 20 minutes. Giggling wouldn't help. Come. Okay, you.
I just came, so I'm just going to read off this paper. Okay, the issue and problems identified include difficulty to attract talents with lower pay, manpower constraints, difficulty to strike a balance between profitability and being socially responsible, as well as rental costs mentioned yesterday, right? Some of the solutions we came up with for the manpower problem, we could, the Yellow Ribbon Project could hire ex-convicts, giving them a second chance, to the people who face difficulties getting a job. And yeah, that's all we came up with. It's not a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. So any comments from group 1 and group 2? Big round of applause for everyone who's taking part. Yeah. So any comments? Group 1, group 2?
So no comments? Nothing whatsoever? Really? You guys have no thoughts? Anything to ask them? You have something? No, you're going off. Okay. Then you know what? I actually thought of something. So all 3 groups have mentioned the same exact thing. You guys know the challenges, which is to attract people to join social enterprises because of the lack of, productivity, the lack of actually profits and things like that. So what is your solution to it? You guys mentioned something along the lines of getting interns to come in. You realize that having low-paid jobs, having low-paying internships is already something that people know. And therefore they will also think, okay, you know, if I'm getting a low-paying internship, might as well do it as a social enterprise, right? But why is this not happening? How do you want to even evoke such a paradigm shift in the first place? So something along those lines.
We've got a comment here.
I think it's not happening. It's just pretty much because the school doesn't push it. Like for our school placements, we don't really get a list of social enterprise, but we do get DBS Bank, we do get banks. So I suppose if you include the placements in the school placements, then students will automatically choose it. Yep.
So you think it's a marketing kind of problem? Okay.
Well, this also means that your social enterprise have to actively seek out interns and you have to show that they want to actually employ interns. But then I don't know whether everyone will actually go and choose an internship at a social enterprise, like a small social enterprise, because if you put it on a resume, I mean like a big thing like DBS Bank or whatever will look nicer, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, so we all recognize this problem here, right? It'll always look nicer to go for a corporate company, something that is not volunteer basis kind of thing. So how are we going to even spark that change in the first place? Other than advertising, like what Chun Yong said. Any more comments on how we can better improve the whole volunteering scene in Singapore? No comments? Just one last one, one quick one. Anyone from this group? This group is huge. Say something. Someone?
Yeah, the guy in the red shirt's been saying everything.
The white shirt. Sabo, sabo, sabo. So the one in the white shirt.
Testing.
Testing.
Hello. I don't know why I got support.
One quick comment on social enterprise in Singapore.
Okay, social enterprises in Singapore, they have a hell lot of problems lah, honestly. But no, seriously, they have a lot of problems. Running an enterprise alone is difficult. Like to juggle both the double bottom line of having to earn profit and also, juggle a social mission is not an easy feat. Like really. But just for one comment, right, if I were to add on to the first point of how do you think they can be sustainable in the long run, I think really it's about finding innovative solutions to remain sustainable, which means not setting up a business in the short run, but to look at how you can survive 3, 5, 10 years down the road. So by that, right, it means like cutting costs, like for example, 18 chefs. I don't know whether you guys know whether like their products are actually very, very cheap. It's not like they're going to expire soon, but like for 18 chefs alone, the products are the kind that are going to expire soon, so it's cheaper. So when you get the products from their suppliers, right, it's cheap. And also like that's what I mean by like innovative solutions to actually cut costs. And also in terms of like talent acquisition for social enterprises, right? In terms of getting talent, it's not just from students. We must look at people towards the end game of their career as well. So what do I mean by that? Like dissatisfied lawyers, bankers, accountants towards the end game of their career. These are the people that you should look out as well. So a lot of the people who are dissatisfied with their career, you never know that whether they might be able to make a full-time career switch or they may like, right? They might do a part-time kind of basis, project basis kind of volunteering for your organization. So that's why like Peter from Impact, that's how he runs his business lah. So you can really get like your talent pool from people, older people, like a lot of them are actually willing to contribute back towards society to help you along the way. So I think it's a two-pronged process, like juggling both the youth and also the older people. But definitely like running a social enterprise is full of problems, but it's a challenge in itself. So I guess that's all I have to say lah. Thanks.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. Sorry, your name?
I'm Tian Li.
Tian Li.
Tian Li, yeah.
Tian Li, okay. Thank you, Tian Li, for that very insightful and very, very interesting comment. So now we know actually, I'm going to get back up on stage, Brian. Sorry. So now we know that apart from tapping on youth to join the social entrepreneurship scene in Singapore, we can also rely on jaded professionals who are old. Good job. Thank you, guys.
Yep, and also just to give you a token of appreciation, we'd like to just hand out some prizes later on for the people who have participated in this wonderful discussion. Thank you.
So for those of you who actually stood up and talked, good job. You get $5 worth of Capital Mall land voucher.